We have some breaking news out of Ector County. Sheriff Mike Griffiths has confirmed they are currently working on an officer-involved shooting.
That's right. Details aren't limited at this time, but the sheriff says the suspect has died.
Teachers want to reassure parents that they have been looking into ways to make virtual learning interactive and productive,
including virtual field trips to places the district couldn't afford before.
The mask mandate requires anyone entering a business or establishment open to the public to be wearing a mask. And if you don't comply, you could be subject to a $250 fine. All along 8th Street, you'll see signs like this right before you head to cast your ballot. But we wanted to know, how close is too close? And what's the fine if you get caught electioneering? MPD says they do not want people to be reoccurring victims. That's why if you do call them with a domestic violence complaint, they'll give you resources on how to get out of your current situation. The Democratic Party wrapped up their convention last week. And the Republican Party wrapped up their convention this Thursday. We spoke to West Texans on both sides of the aisle to see what they thought about the digital platform. What were your thoughts throughout the night, and now that you're hearing this race has been called?
Well, we knew it was going to be a difficult race all along.
You said it was going to be an uphill battle, really,
Yes.
as a Democrat running in such a red district. But tell me what the next step is for Democrats here in West Texas. And as you can see behind me, there's a bright yellow sign that reads Odessa Strong. Randy Ham with the Odessa Arts says as we approach the one-year anniversary of the mass shooting, he thought it was a good way for the community to come together in remembrance of the lives lost on that day.
3 different candidates running against Rory McKinney, so that's going to make things really interesting. He has to get 51% of the votes, and if not, he will be going into a runoff. The most recent Texas poll shows a razor-thin margin between President Trump and Democratic nominee Joe Biden. Trump's campaign says they have a, quote, bigger and longer established presence in the state.
I do feel confident that Texas will remain red, but we can take nothing for granted, and that's why every conservative has to get out and vote. There are certain areas that we know have been going bluer and bluer, but there are counties that are strongly red and that will become even more so. There are counties that were pink that will become a bright red.
Meanwhile, Biden is doubling down in Texas in effort to show shades of purple.
He'll make a major difference across the state. He'll increase the Democratic vote count in this part of the state. I have no doubt about it. You don't have to win 50% of Midland County to become the winner statewide, but there will be far more votes coming out of Midland County for Democrats than we've seen in the past.
Both having strong opinions on the first presidential debate that took place Monday.
I thought it was awful. I wanted to hear what people had in mind in terms of our future. I know that Vice President Biden tried, but he was shouted down by President Trump, who has no plan.
Local Republicans had a different reaction.
There was a lot of energy, there was a lot of engagement, and I do think that the president showed his strength. He showed how he wants to fight for the people.
From handling the aftermath of a mass shooting to dealing with a board member's resignation and navigating a global pandemic, it's no secret that Dr. Scott Murray has had a challenging first year as the ECISD superintendent.
That sense of resiliency, even after the shooting, our students, our staff members, our community, rose and became even stronger because of that. And now we face the pandemic. And that same level of resiliency that we saw after the shooting, I know that we will see again. In fact, we're starting to see signs of that right now.
The school board president says it will be tough to measure the progress of students as they tackle online learning, but she is proud of Murray's work.
He has stepped up to the plate. I believe that they've done everything they can to ensure that the majority of our students have had a good learning experience.
Dr. Murray says last year the school district had 350 teacher openings, and he has helped bring that number down to 120. He looks forward to continuing with this strategic plan.
It will require all of us to roll up our sleeves. It will require all of us to think differently about how we educate our kids. It will require all of us to really challenge ourselves to the core, because we have to be different.
One parent I spoke to today says she's pleased with the work she's seen so far from Murray and says great things are on the horizon for ECISD. Reporting live in Odessa, Feliz Romero, Big 2 News.